It's not every day we get to investigate a brand new cruise product, so I'm really excited today to take an in-depth look at Explora Journeys. I'm Bob Bradley of the Pampered Cruiser, and if you're looking to take a trip with Explora Journeys or any other river or ocean cruise lines, then we'd love to help you out with your plans. Here's our contact information, and they're also listed in the notes below. But more about Explora Journeys.
Well, I'm very pleased to be joined by Aimee Price. She is the head of sales for the United States and United States West and all of Canada. Have I got that right, Aimee?
You got that right, exactly. I
Ah.
know. Could I have a longer title? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that must fit really good in the email title, in the
Yeah.
email signature. So yeah, that's a good time. So we've been following you all since the very earliest conceptual days, and I'd like to go back and start there. So you all went out and you talked to 20,000 travelers, not just cruisers, about building this new brand. What did these folks tell you?
Well, you're right that they weren't all cruisers, and we worked with McKinsey Group, and they did multiple focus groups, and about three-quarters of those 20,000 guests were cruisers, and the
Yeah.
other quarter were not. And what we asked them really was we wanted to get the heart of what it is that they want or expect from a luxury vacation experience, because we could have built a brand just by understanding what we think people want from a luxury experience and what we would want ourselves. But we felt it was more important to really dive in and understand what these guests thought we should be building from the
Cool.
ground up.
And so when you got to the end of this 20,000, what were the learnings out of that? Were there any surprises for you, or?
I don't think there were surprises. I think a lot of it made a lot of sense to most of us who've been in the industry for a while, because we really want to build something that is going to attract new cruisers to the industry, hence the reason why we did talk to people that hadn't cruised before.
Right.
And the bottom line was a lot of the pillars that we learned from talking to these clients are things that people have as far as aversions to cruising. Like, they told us, make sure that you give us a lot of space, that so many lines will have, confined areas and not enough space. They also told us to make sure that we gave them choices. And if you think about that, that's an aversion to getting on a ship. Is I'm going to get on board. A, I'm not going to have enough room. And B, I'm going to not have anything to do. I'm going to be bored out of my board. They also told us that design was really important, which is not surprising. Luxury has become very contemporary and bespoke, and they want us to focus on design. They also told us to focus on destinations and spending more time in places, which again is an aversion to someone who hasn't cruised before, because they think that they're only going to be there in a place during the day, and they're going to be rushed and they're not going to have enough time. So that has really led us to developing these journeys that are more mindful, that spend more time in destinations. A lot of times we'll have overnights in destinations. So I think those were the main things that came out of those conversations. A lot of little things in there, but we needed to really kind of hone in what those focus groups told us as we started to build the brand.
Cool.
And that's what we got.
I want to go a bit deeper into some of those things in just a minute, but I want to back up just a little bit. So let's talk about Explora Journeys in terms of because again, MSC is right in your logo there, right? So what is the relationship?
Yeah, great
between
question.
Explora Journeys and the MSC group, and maybe tell me a little bit about the MSC group too, because I'm not sure I'm aware of MSC cruises, out of Europe, but I don't know a whole lot more about them.
Yeah, so MSC Group, Mediterranean Shipping Company, is the largest shipping company in the world, and they happen to be privately held. So it used to be that we could say they're the largest privately held shipping company in the world, but now they're actually the largest shipping company in the world. But not only do they have cargo as part of their DNA, 700 cargo ships. So a lot of shipbuilding going on, over 70,000 employees worldwide that make up the company. But they also have some other lines and ventures that are part of the MSC group. So they have ferry brands that are part of the group that operate in Europe. They also have the MSC Cruises brands with 19 ships, I think soon to be 20 ships, across Europe and the US. So it's a group of companies that are owned by the Mediterranean Shipping Company. It's much like consider it like a Marriott. Like Marriott Group has various different levels of hotels and experiences. We're part of what MSC Group has to offer, and we just so happen to be the luxury division of the MSC group. And this really has been something that has been in the DNA and the desire of the Aponte Vago family,
Yeah.
who is the family that privately owns MSC Group, is to build a luxury product. So they've really had their hands in everything that we've been doing and have been very, very thoughtful about making sure that this product, this luxury ocean experience, is unique. It is speaking to those discerning travelers, and it really does make a mark in the industry when we're introduced.
Yeah, one of the things as I've been chatting with our clients through this, there's two things that have come up for me just based on what you just said. One is for industry geeks like you and me, how these companies are capitalized and whatnot. Most people don't care; they just want to get on a ship. But
Yep.
for you and me, the fact that MSC has got a lot of money behind it, right? So
Oh,
again,
yeah.
the whole world shut down for a couple of years, but cargo was still moving, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so again, that's something for you and I to have a glass of wine over. But for my clients, right? About okay, well, is it just MSC with prettier wallpaper? And I guess the thing that I'm totally overdoing that, by the way. And I guess the point that that I've made to some of our clients is that okay, well, look, like Silver Sea Cruises is owned by Royal Caribbean, right? And Seabourn
Mm-hmm.
is owned by Carnival. So these are both, and I'm just using those as examples because they're
Yep.
well-recognized luxury brands.
Yes.
And we don't really we don't say, oh, I don't want to go on Seabourn because they're owned by Carnival or anything like that. So I just want to,
Right.
that's one of the conversations we're having with some of our clients about, well, no, this is a standalone entity. They happen to have the same mother corporation, which means they're well capitalized, which is nothing but good.
Exactly. Yeah. Well capitalized to the tune of, the company as a whole last year in revenues, $25 billion in
Yeah.
revenue. And they are putting, and this isn't something that we're putting in marketing or really broadcasting, but between the 6 ships that we're building, they're putting $3 billion in euro into building these ships. So they will be the most expensive ships for their size ever built. And I do also have to credit the family for being very mindful of the experience that we're going to be providing these guests. They could have been very, very focused on making sure that we fill every single bed,
Right.
which a lot of those bigger companies do. It's heads in beds, and that causes promotions. And we're not in that game. We're really about optimizing the guest experience, not optimizing the space as far as getting those heads in beds. So we want to make sure that we are providing a true luxury ocean experience. And like I said, the family has been involved at every step of the way in making sure that funding and the budgeting and the way the product is being built is kept that in mind.
Cool. Let's talk about some of these billions of dollars going into 6 ships we're talking about now,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. So, but I want to, and again, they're going to be sister ships, near
Mm-hmm.
identical,
Yep.
and so I want to talk a little bit about really about what people can expect when they step on board the ship. And as you talked about, one of the things you mentioned earlier is space. So what's my stateroom going to look like on Explora Journeys?
Well, first of all, Bob, we don't have staterooms. We have suites.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So suites. Yeah. Well, this is actually an important distinction, right? So
It is.
cabins are
It is.
staterooms. It's the number one bit of feedback we get from our clients, Aimee, is that yeah, it was a I'm not talking about any particular cruise line, but yeah, it was a nice trip, but I'm really happy not to be living in 135 square feet anymore. So
Yeah.
what is my suite going to look like on Explora Journeys?
So, those guests told us they want space. So
Yeah.
with that space, what we're doing is we'll have the largest guest to space ratio when we're introduced in the industry, but we'll also have the largest lead-in suite square footage. So our lead-in suites are called our Ocean Terrace suites, and they are 377 square feet, and that is inclusive of the terrace. The terrace is 75 square feet. So if you do the math, you have 302 square feet of interior space. So you've more than doubled what you mentioned, that 135 square feet of
Yeah.
cabin or stateroom space. And if you think about it, if you use the word cabin or stateroom, again, that harkens to the idea that you're confined in the small space. So a suite makes you feel like you're going to be in a much more luxurious area, which our suites, when you see the images, are computer generated images of the suites, you'll see that they are very luxurious, very spacious. They'll all have king beds.
That's
Um,
nice.
yes, very nice. They will all have very large walk-in closets with a dressing vanity for the ladies, marble bathrooms with heated bathroom floors. I mean, who wants to step on a cold floor when you go into the bathroom, whether it be in the morning or the night?
I'm feeling like a princess
Uh,
already.
they will. Well, you're gonna feel like a real princess, Bob, because guess what? We have Dyson hair dryers in every room.
Yeah, I that was one of my questions about the hair dryers. Anyway, no, but Sue will be happy to know that she's got good equipment in the hair
Yes,
drying department. Thank you.
proper liquor, but I hate making tea out of something that has had coffee made through it because it just
Yeah.
has that coffee taste to it. So for those tea drinkers, we'll have a proper kettle for making tea, an Illy coffee maker that has compostable pods. We didn't sign our contract with Illy until they were able to come up with compostable pods because we are very sustainably minded. Also, your suites out on the terrace. So you have 75 square feet on the terrace. They will have day beds. Every terrace will have a day bed and it sits facing the ocean because we
In
want
every
our,
room.
yeah, every suite has a day bed that will be on the terrace that faces the ocean. They're made by Minotti, which is a very high-end furniture maker in Italy. They also have a table and two chairs. So you could easily have a lovely meal served on your terrace. Maybe you want to have breakfast on your terrace or maybe an afternoon tea on your terrace. You can certainly do that and have lots of comfortable space available to you. So that's a little bit about what you can expect in your suite when you come in an entry-level suite. Of course, we have higher levels as well. We have penthouses and residences, and I don't know if you want me to go into those details or not, Bob, but
Yeah,
they are pretty
maybe
enticing.
but yeah, tell us a little bit about, so these are, you mentioned that the, just to recap, the entry level suite is this great big huge, so the cheapest suite on, or the cheapest suite on the whole boat is this great big room with a great big terrace, and I love the fact you're calling it a terrace, with
Yes.
a day bed and a king bed. Okay, so I'm sold already, but let's say that for whatever reason I really need to get into one of the higher end one. The next level up would be what?
Sure. The next level up would be our penthouses. So I will say in our Ocean Terrace and our Grand Terrace suites. So the interior space of those suites are the same. The Grand Terraces have 100 square feet on the terrace. So you get a little bit bigger terrace in the Grand Terrace suites. All of those will accommodate a triple when the configuration is 2 adults and 1 child.
Yeah.
We do have connecting suites. So 78 of those entry level suites are connecting suites. So if you do have 2 adults and 2 children, you can easily request a 460 square feet and go up to 730 square feet. So they get quite a bit larger. They have the flexibility of partitioning off the bedroom or the sleeping area from the living area, which I think is great, especially if you have someone who likes to have a lie-in while the other person maybe wants to get up and enjoy a cup of coffee in the sunrise. They're not disturbing each other. You have a little bit more space for entertaining in your suite if you would like to, or on your suite terrace, because your terrace obviously becomes quite a bit larger as well. And we have 67 of those penthouses.
Nice.
And then from there, we go up to what we call residences. So all of our suites, we really want to make them feel like homes at sea. So hence the word or nomenclature of residence when we talk about our top tier suites. They start at 760 square feet.
Wow.
And go up to 1,600 square feet. And we have 22 of them. The residences, you get your own butler, dedicated butler the entire time, in addition to the suite steward. And then you also have your own jacuzzi hot tub on your terrace. So you do get quite a bit more space on your terrace, quite a bit more privacy. And then if you're really going to splurge, Bob, for maybe some big life event or celebration, we do have our owner's residence.
Yeah.
And that is 3,014 square feet. And it is truly the piece de resistance on our ship because it spans the entire aft of deck 8. So their terrace is the entire width of deck 8. So they have their own plunge pool. They have plenty of outdoor living space, beautiful accommodations on the interior of the suite. And that does sleep a total of 4 adults. But if you do have a larger family, there is a connecting ocean terrace suite. So you could sleep up to 7 in that entire owner's residence area. So we'll have one of those on our first 2 ships. And then our subsequent 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th ship will have 2 of the owner's residences available.
Excellent. That, I can hardly wait to see the owner's residence. So
I know.
maybe I'll get to stay in there one day. Who knows? You mentioned earlier about the 3rd berth with children and whatnot. Are you expecting a lot of children on board?
So you won't see us promoting to families is by way of our advertising, but we do accommodate families. We
Yeah.
are obviously owned by a family, the
Yep.
Ponte Vago family, and they wanted to make sure that we had accommodations for family. We are targeting a younger age demographic, I would say around 45 to 65,
Yep.
what we would call the affluent, working, wealthy. And we do know that, they tend to have children a little bit later in life. So we do anticipate that they will travel with their children from time to time. And as such, the accommodations from a suite perspective, we have available for them. But I love to point out the fact that we actually have space built out on board for kids and teens programming, which you won't find in any other luxury brand. And we
Right.
will have a dedicated host year round that will execute our Ocean Explorer programming. And I always like to point that out because I started my career in the cruise industry 30 some years ago now, as a youth counselor on board a ship that didn't have dedicated space for children and kids programming. And we found ourselves, trying to jockey between all these public spaces that the
Yeah.
adults were trying to use. And I always said that my job was the hardest on board because not only was I using all my energy to entertain the kids, please their parents by keeping the kids entertained, but I was also trying to keep the people that didn't want to see the kids happy as well. I trying to keep them out of their way. So the fact that we have space dedicated to kids and teens programming, I think is great from a family perspective. It will keep those kids active and entertained, but in a more confined area.
Cool. That sounds good. So certainly welcome, because again, some of the luxury lines either discourage or actually outlaw children in some cases, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
again, it's just to be clear, we don't have go-kart tracks and roller coasters
No.
and zip lines on the boat,
No.
on the ship, but children are certainly welcome, and
Yes.
and there are programs for them on board. So.
Yeah, and it's more of an edutainment programming that we're going to have for them, and we'll be releasing a bit more about our programming for the younger explorers with us here shortly. But it definitely is focused around edutainment for the kids
Cool.
and teens.
Awesome. Let's transition from there into entertaining the adults, right? So I want to come back. Believe me, I got lots of other questions for you, but we were just talking about entertaining the kids. Well, what about I've got ADD, right? Like, what am I going to be able to do? What am I going to be able to do on one of these journeys? And I realize that there would be some regional differences, but just tell me in broad strokes what the entertainment and enrichment is going to look like on board.
Yeah, so the entertainment enrichment is very much part of that choice that those guests told us that they wanted to have. So with the space that we have on board, we are going to have entertainment across 12 different bars and lounges.
Wow.
8 of them are interior, yep, and 4 of them are exterior. And the entertainment really is going to be varied, obviously, based on the destinations that we're visiting, because we're really going to try to be bringing on up and coming guest entertainment from those destinations that we're visiting, as well as an extensive array of luminaries and lecturers that we'll have joining us to, appease all walks of life. And we'll have entertainment throughout the day and the evening. And what we really are focusing on our entertainment doing is not being something that you feel like you're forced to be a part of. We don't want to have set show times so that you're sitting at your dinner and looking at your watch and saying, honey, we can't have dessert because the show starts in 5 minutes.
Right.
We're not going to have any set show times like that. We'll always list that our entertainment is starting at and going until late because we don't want people to feel rushed. And we want to have various different types of entertainment throughout the ship in the evening. Say, for example, when you are done dining, for you to choose from. And you can choose the right vibe that you're in that evening. Maybe you want to go and enjoy a concert pianist that night after dinner. Or maybe you really feel like dancing. You got your, boogie shoes on and you want to find a DJ. We're going to have that available. Or maybe you want to sit down and have a nice conversation with one of our luminaries on board. They'll be available to do that. It's really about you and the vibe that you want to choose after your evening or your day events that you have going on.
Yeah, that sounds really good because, I actually quite enjoy when I'm at sea. I quite enjoy many of the production shows and whatnot, but there is an aspect exactly what you're talking about, which is, yeah, okay, like I just want to kind of enjoy my evening, no, right? It's so I really that sounds like a really, really interesting change in concept.
Well, and I think for our clients, if they want to see a Broadway show, they can afford to go to Broadway.
They'll go to Broadway, yeah, or to London, yeah,
or the West End, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not going to pretend that we can provide that for them. but we certainly can provide them with some very engaging entertainment that they feel that they're comfortable with.
Cool. Right on. So the next question people often ask me is, when I across any cruiser vacation option, is tell me about the food. So there's this sounds really exciting, and we've got a number of venues. So maybe just give us an overview of what it's going to look like on board.
Yeah. So again, that goes back to that choice.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 6 distinctive restaurants on board, and we have 11 venues in total that you can get food at. So
Cool.
6 true restaurants, and then 5 of those bars and lounges areas that you can get food at various different times of the day. So from a restaurant perspective, excuse me,
Yep.
our included restaurants are, for example, Sakura, which is our Pan-Asian restaurant. We'll serve Japanese, Vietnamese, Malaysian. We'll have a sushi bar in there. We'll also have a very extensive sake menu in there and a sake sommelier. So they'll
No
do
way.
sake tasting. Yeah, yeah. I
I
didn't
didn't know
even know
there
there
was
was
such
such
a
a thing.
thing. That's
I
cool.
know, but it makes sense, if you're wine
Yep.
tasting sake.
Yep.
Um, so that's our Pan-Asian restaurant. And Sakura means cherry blossom. So when
Hmm.
you do get to see imagery of our restaurants, what I love about the restaurants is they really reflect the destination or the region that we're trying to offer you from a culinary perspective. So you'll see cherry blossoms in this restaurant hanging from the ceiling.
It's cool.
Then we have Marble and Company, which is our steakhouse. So if you like a really nice cut of meat, we'll be sustainably sourcing our meat as much as possible from the destinations that we're visiting, but they will be very high-end cuts of meat. Marble and Company, marble referring to the marbling in the meat, being very delectable.
Yep.
We'll also have a dry age cellar available for our meats in that restaurant. From there, we have another restaurant called the Med Yacht Club, which is a bit more casual, serving food from the Mediterranean. It actually feels like a yacht. So there's a little bar within the restaurant where you can have tapas and sit in a really casual setting with lots of teak and lots of nautical themed art around.
Cool.
And then in the restaurant, we'll serve Spanish, Italian, Greek, as well as North African types food on the menu. We also have Fil Rouge, which is probably our most formal restaurant. It's a French-inspired international cuisine restaurant, and Fil Rouge means the red line in French. So when you
Yep.
look at our ships, you'll see a red line at the water line. So that kind of is where Fil Rouge came from.
Oh,
But
cool.
French international inspired restaurant, white linen tablecloths. And when I say formal, I mean formal by the look of the restaurant. You as a guest, you really don't have to have formal wear at all throughout our journey. So super, country club casual, don't require suits, ties, formal gowns, anything. So you can be relaxed when you're on vacation.
Excellent.
And
Just
then,
before you move on from that, that's actually a really important distinction. So there's no, and again, I'm a little off topic, but that's
no,
no
that's fine.
formal nights anytime on board the
Mm-mm.
ship.
Nope. Nope. I mean, if
Cool.
you want to, you can certainly bring your formal wear, but we do
Sure.
not require it at all.
Yeah,
So,
I just don't travel with tuxedos well, Aimee. So cool.
but
No,
I know
anyway,
you have
sorry.
some really fun shirts.
Yeah, I do have some fun shirts. Yes, I'm not wearing any of
Yes.
them today, but yes. So sorry, carry on.
So we left off with Bill Rouge. Next is what we call Emporium Marketplace. So this is our cooking stations. We have 18 different cooking stations in the Emporium Marketplace.
Yeah.
And this will have breakfast, lunch, and dinner service, but the cooking stations change throughout the day and night. And this is not a buffet because buffet is not in our lexicon. You actually go to the cooking station, have a conversation with the chef. They will then serve you table side, whatever you are choosing to enjoy or dine on in the Emporium Marketplace.
Yep.
Then we have 2 other restaurants. One is called Anthology. And there is an experience fee for Anthology, and it's €100 per person. But the reason there's an experience fee is it's a smaller, more intimate venue of about 48 guests.
Yep.
And what we're doing in this restaurant is something that no one else has done before at sea. So we are inviting on a 4 to 5 month rotation basis celebrated chefs. So not celebrities. So don't think
Right.
about Ina Garten or Bobby Flay or any of those guys. These, I mean, they do a great job, but these are chefs with Michelin star ratings,
Yeah.
chefs with restaurants that take months, if not years, to get into. They will come on board and curate the experience in this restaurant. And when I say experience, it's going to be a wine pairing experience. So
Yeah.
it can be anywhere from 4 to 8 course meals. And you can better believe there are going to be amazing wines that these chefs bring on and pair with their dishes that are offered in that special restaurant. Then the other restaurant that there is an experience fee, again, very intimate, only 12 guests, is our chef's table.
Wow,
And
cool.
in the destinations where we can, you will have with your experience fee the ability to shop with the chef, cook with the chef, and dine with the chef. So it truly is a culinary experience. And I can't wait for us to be able to share with you all the menus in these various restaurants
Yep.
because our head of culinary is a gentleman by the name of Frank Garager, and he came
Yes.
from Oceania.
Yep.
And he really was the brains and the creativity behind their front man.
Yep.
And he was given a blank slate here, and I have seen some of the imagery and the pictures and have heard about how wonderful the food tastes. And it is
Yep.
definitely going to be top, top, top notch. So we're excited
That
to
sounds.
share.
So, as Aimee, you probably know, our office is based in New York, even though we don't live there. And so when we get to New York, there's some of these Michelin star rated chefs that you're talking about, right? And as you say, like if I was smart enough to make a reservation 9 months ago and is ready to, and would be ready to pay $400 a head to go in, which I'm not, it'd probably be a great experience. Well, this is what a wonderful opportunity to be able to do it on board a ship.
Yeah, and we are sourcing these chefs worldwide. And they will be announced ahead of time so that your guests do know who is curating that experience in Anthology, and they can do a little research and understand what they actually are going to get when they come on board Explora Journeys.
Cool. How about the main dining room?
We don't have a main dining room.
You don't have
We
a main
have
dining room?
No, we don't have a main dining room. We have multiple dining rooms. Remember, we have 6 restaurants and then 5 venues that serve food. So with those restaurants, there are 3. So Sakura, Marble and Company, and Fil Rouge, you can make reservations ahead of time, but we're only going to fill the inventory to about 60%.
Cool.
What we want to make sure is that when you get on board, you have the option to dine wherever, with whomever, whenever you would like. So, Bob, if you want to have sushi every night, knock your socks off and do it. Have sushi every night. We are not going to restrict you and say you can only have one reservation in Sakura on any journey. We want you to have that flexibility to dine, like I said, whenever, wherever you would like, and in-suite dining too, as well. If you want to have
I can do room service.
Lovely. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I can order, if I do room service, I can do it from any of the restaurants, or?
So depending upon the suite that you're in, if you're in the residences, you can get it from any restaurant in, any menu that you would like.
Yeah.
The penthouses has a more a limited number of the restaurants you can order from, and then the Ocean Terrace and Grand Terrace suites does have an in-suite dining menu that you would choose from. Awesome. But I can guarantee with Frank at the head of the realm there, I'm sure your in-suite dining is going to be great no matter where you get it from.
Various shades of excellence.
Yes, exactly. I like that.
Cool. That. So let's talk about the beverage side then, right? So we've got, it's always food and beverage. So what are my cocktail options on board? All I need to be happy is a nice glass of wine, which I'm sure you'll give me. But for the purpose of what are the various venues and what are they going to look like?
Yeah, so we have those 12 different bars and lounges, and your beverages. 12.
That's extraordinary.
8 interior. Anyway, 8 interior and 4 exterior. Your beverages are all inclusive, with the exception of your very high-end library wines or your high-end champagnes and liqueurs. When you come on board, we will, of course, have a in-suite minibar with your favorite bottle of spirits stocked in there already. We will also have a chilled bottle of champagne for you. And I will tell you, it is very special champagne. So our house pour across the whole entire ship of champagne is Moët Chandon. If you are sailing with us in an Ocean Terrace or Grand Terrace suite, we will have a lovely bottle of chilled Vive Clicquot for you. If you are sailing with us in the penthouses, you will have a bottle of Renard Blanc de Blanc. And if you're in the residences, we will get you have a bottle of chilled Dom Perignon for you. So it truly is a gift to you for sailing with us at Explora Journeys. But your beverages, so in the various different bars and lounges, we have one lounge that is more of a lounge that has a mixology bar in the back and has a little bit more of a theater feel for those times when we have our luminaries who are giving lectures, or if we have dance classes, they might be in there. We have another bar called the Explora Journeys Lounge. That's where we will actually have afternoon tea, proper English afternoon tea served every day.
Cool.
But floor to ceiling windows towards the front of the ship. Uh, it will change throughout the day and night. You know, the vibe during the day might be a pianist in there or a acoustic guitar player, and maybe later in the evening we might have a DJ in there because we do have a dance floor in that space. We have a malt whiskey bar for those of you who like your dark beverages, your dark liquors. And in that malt whiskey bar, we also have a cigar bar. So for our cigar aficionados, if they would like to have a nice cigar, they can do that on board. But you can't smoke inside. You can only smoke on the cigar terrace. So there is no smoking anywhere interior on the
Oh,
ship.
you anticipated
So
my
that's
next
just a little bit
question.
of a taste of some of the bars.
Yeah.
And no smoking. No smoking.
Okay.
But that's just a taste of some of the bars. You know, we've got bars by our pool area. So if you want to enjoy a nice cocktail outside by our 4 different pools that we have on board,
Yeah.
we've got bars there. We have one of our pools is what we call the conservatory that has a glass retractable roof.
Nice.
And there is a gelateria and creperie in there as well as a
Even
bar.
better.
Yes, yes. So that you can enjoy in warm and cold weather cruising because it does have that retractable glass roof. So that's just a little sampling of the various different bars throughout the ship. There's lots of spaces. And because there's lots of spaces, it does create a little bit more privacy too, because
Yeah.
people are more spread out as they find their areas that they like to hang out during their journey with us.
Yeah, no, as you're describing it, it sounds much more like like a high-end urban resort, if you like, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying in a very nice room, like suite in a hotel, say, but I've got all these options because I'm in a larger city or something where I've got all these options available to me. That was what running through my mind as you were describing this.
Well, and I love that that was going through your mind because we really do want you to think of us as a floating resort at sea. And the oceans and destinations that we visit are our addresses. So
Cool.
keep that in mind.
Okay, we haven't talked about the spa yet. So everybody always asks about the spa when they're on board these vessels. So what's that going to look like on Explora Journeys?
So our spa program is actually called Ocean Wellness.
Nice.
Yeah. So what we haven't talked about is, as well, Bob, is that when you come on board, we want to get you in that ocean state of mind. So the ocean is front and center of everything that we do. Hence the reason we have 461 all oceanfront, all terraced suites. Hence the reason why most of our lounges will have floor to ceiling windows so that you can see the ocean. We have lots of that outdoor space so that you can be near the ocean. But the ocean wellness is our spa and fitness area. So very important that we had ocean in the naming nomenclature.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several unique things about our spa and fitness area, but I think the most unique thing is the fact that we're not operating this through a third party operator. Many of your guests may or may not be aware, but most lines on the water will operate their spa through another company like Canyon Ranch or Steiner.
Right.
And you kind of lose control of the experience when you do that. And we did not want that to happen because we don't want to have an experience where a guest comes in and has a lovely facial or a massage. And the next thing you know, the technician is pushing product on them. We don't want that
the
to happen.
upsell.
Yeah, the upsell. We don't want that to happen. We want the experience to be revolving around the ocean, to be very relaxing, to be rejuvenating. So we have 3 different areas that we are focused on in our spa. So we have Ocean Wellness, the spa, which has multiple treatment rooms, double treatment rooms, has the spa thermal area, which everyone has access to with your journey fare. You don't have to pay extra for that. So in that thermal area, you'll have those lovely marble heated loungers that you can lay on and relax. We have a Himalayan salt room. We have an ice fall room. We have a dry sauna. We have a steam room. Just all these places centered around relaxation that you can come and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a salon, of course, if you'd like to come and have, your hair done, Bob. I know you got lots. Yeah.
I'm all over it.
Nails. Actually, for the gentleman, we have a space built out on board for a gentleman's proper barber experience. So whether it's a very close shave, it's or a haircut, it's your own gentleman's area. So you don't have to walk through all the ladies in the salon.
That's fantastic because that's actually a big miss a lot of the time, right?
Yep.
So, I'm not getting my hair done, but you never know. So
yeah, might like that really nice close shave.
yes, indeed.
So we have the spa and the salon. Then we have our ocean wellness fitness area. And in here, we have a generous amount of space, both interior and exterior. So I think we're probably going to have the first ocean fitness center at sea that's exterior. So again, putting the ocean front and center.
Nice.
So part of our fitness center is outdoor with rowing machines and spin bikes and yoga area for guests to enjoy and again be close to the ocean. But all of our fitness experiences is partnered with Techno Gym. So we'll have the very high end Techno Gym equipment on board, both cardio and free weights and weight machines for you to experience. And we take it a step further too. If you don't want to come to the gym, like I know a lot of people during COVID have gotten used to working out in their homes.
Yeah.
You can work out in your suite if you want to.
And I guess there's space to do that. So yeah,
there is space to do that. So
this is got to be a first though, right? To be able to. So what you'll loan me equipment for the for my own my own suite. Sorry, to do my own workout. Suite.
Yeah. So in the penthouses in the residences where there is a generous amount of space, you can get a Techno Gym bag that has like the resistance band equipment and whatnot, and it comes with a tag that has a QR code on it, so that you can either utilize your in-suite stateroom television with pre-programmed fitness classes, or you can use your phone to take some of the Techno Gym fitness classes. In the residences, you have the option also to have a box of workout gear delivered to you, and that actually has some of the free weights as far as dumbbells are concerned and whatnot. And again, pre-programmed workouts, so you can do working out in the privacy of your own suite. You don't have to come to the gym. But if you come to the gym, all of our fitness classes are included, so you don't have to pay extra for that. If you do want a personal trainer, that's a different story, but that's one-on-one training. We have a sport court where we will offer touch tennis for guests. And touch tennis is a little different from pickleball. It's not really tennis, but it's kind of in between. Yeah. We have a half basketball court up there. We'll be doing yoga on the sport court, and we have all different types of yoga classes available. We have a running track for guests that want to stay healthy and get their cardio running in. And I think it's 6.25 laps around makes a mile. So it's a pretty generous running track for the size of ship that we have. And then the third area is what we call ocean wellness well-being. And we're going to offer something that no one else has done at sea. Either a nutrition retreat or a sleep retreat, or a well-being retreat where you just learn how to be mindful about yourself from both a mind and a body perspective. And it's executed over multiple days. So it's not just a one and done thing. It's something where we talk about nutrition, about how to incorporate maybe exercise into your life, or what you should be doing differently to get better sleep outside of vacation. So that's something that we're doing. And then there is a component of that that will be offered in every suite, where you can choose from a different type of menu, from your evening beverage that will help you sleep better, or your beverage in the morning that will help you wake up. Maybe it's a really yummy smoothie that has some energizing qualities about it. But some of that will be executed in the suite. Some of it can be done through retreats, but that's our well-being offering. So to cross those three different types of experiences that our ocean wellness programming will be offered. And it is a big focus for us because we have nearly 10,000 square feet, both interior and exterior, dedicated to the spa and fitness area. Yep.
Wow. How about, so I'm going to transition a little bit here to shore excursions.
Destination experiences.
Destination experiences. Thank you. And this is just for the record. I did ask Aimee to correct me on all these things because I know there are a whole bunch of specific terms and nomenclature that is specific to Explora Journeys, and it actually makes a difference. So thank you.
Yeah, when you talk about shore excursions, that again goes back to the differentiation of you're on a ship, and when you get to a port, you're going ashore, where we again want to attract those people that are new to cruising.
Yep.
So take away that differentiation between the two. You're in a destination, and we want you to experience that destination. So that's why we call them destination experiences as opposed to shore excursions.
So I was going to transition with the whole idea about my question was going to be, are there more active shore experiences for those folks that want to get out and pedal a bike or go for a hike or those kind of things? And then maybe you can tell me a little bit more just in general about what the shore experiences are going to look like.
Yeah, so our destination experiences are all being curated specifically for Explora Journeys. So you're not going to find these offered off other lines. You won't find them by going to a destination management company and saying, hey, I want what they have on Explora Journeys. These are
Right.
exclusively for Explora Journeys. So we've actually taken our destination experiences and we've categorized them into 5 different categories so that you can better decide what you're looking for will help narrow down the category that you want to look at. So we have everything from in cultural immersion type experiences, which might be going to a gentleman's farm and seeing how he has grown all of the vegetables and the herbs and whatnot, and then going to the kitchen with him and learning how he uses them in his recipes and cooking them in the type of cuisine that is from that destination or region. Or maybe you want to do something that is total adrenaline junkie that you could never do anywhere else, and maybe it's taking a helicopter to a very remote glacier and doing some skiing, or I'm not saying that these are exactly the excursions that we're offering or the experiences that we're offering. I'm just trying to give you some kind of examples
Mm-hmm.
of the wide array of opportunities that we have available. If you want to do some hiking, we'll have some hiking available. If you want to do more of a cooking class, we'll have a cooking class available. There'll definitely be something for every interest in the destinations that we're visiting.
So my takeaway here is that it's not going to be the typical, okay, well, on the left is the cathedral, because we're in Europe, of
Mm-mm,
course, right? And
no.
get herded around in a group of 40. We're going over here now. Everybody back on the motor coach. We're going to drive 10 minutes and do the next thing. So, and it's not that there's necessarily anything wrong with those things. It's that I don't want to maybe do that every single day.
Yeah, and a motor coach with 52 other guests
Yeah.
and a guide who's walking around with an umbrella or a lollipop, that's not luxury.
Yeah.
Luxury is becoming more immersive and more understanding of the destinations that you're visiting and the people that you're meeting and how you're impacting those areas that you're visiting as well.
That's an important
So,
distinction.
yep, yep. So that's what we want to offer our clients and your
Awesome.
guests.
Well, let's chat a little bit now about the itineraries themselves. But you all have have put things together a bit differently than I've seen in other places, where you've. I mean, one of the things that struck me right away is that a lot of. So I've traveled like you, Aimee. I'm in the biz, so I've traveled to a lot of different places over the years. Right, I've been very fortunate to be able to do so. And it's funny because I'm looking through some of the Explora Journeys itineraries. I go, okay, I've sailed from Rome to Barcelona before, but I've never actually heard of that port.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So again, a lot of this came from those conversations that we had with those clients, potential guests of ours, potential clients of yours. And what they told us is that they wanted us to travel differently. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that was to go to some of the more off beaten path places, a little bit lesser known areas, and spend more time in those areas. So, for example, the itineraries or the journeys that you were looking at, we obviously accomplished that because we want those affluent travelers, those discerning travelers, to feel like they're experiencing something new by coming with Explora Journeys. And so what you'll find in many of our itineraries is that we're not repeating ports of call. We're not home porting in any one destination. We're giving you a wide variety of opportunities by way of the different journeys that we're offering for you to maybe choose an 8-night journey because that's all the time that you have. But if you want to spend more time with us, you could have an 8-night journey that backs up to a 7-night journey. And maybe there's a 6th night that's after that that looks really compelling. And because we're not repeating ports of call, you can string those journeys together and create longer, grander, extended opportunities with us to explore the world. In fact, people have asked, well, when are you guys going to do a world cruise? And if
Yeah.
you look at the way that we've designed our journeys and our itineraries, you could create a world cruise with us. It might take a little bit of extra effort, but at least you would understand that, hey, these are places that I haven't been before. And I want to explore this part of the world because Explora Journeys is hanging out there for a while and doing some very unique journeys and sailings. And also, we're staying longer. We're, spending more time in those destinations. And we have a lot of our journey itineraries where you'll have at least one, if not two overnights in a destination.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, two of the things that you talk about doing a world cruise, and it's kind of interesting too, because it gives you the opportunity, if you did want to do a world cruise and string a bunch of these things together, is that if you say, well, okay, I want to get out and Bangkok and spend a week there, right? And then you fly and you meet the ship in Singapore or something,
Yep.
right? It's
For
and
sure.
then you carry on. And the other thing that I really like, just purely from a logistic point of view, is that, so I sort of half joked about, oh, I've done Rome to Barcelona before, but the nice part about that, the way that you've set up the itineraries is that I've got, in many cases, I've got big airports as bookends of the trip,
Yes.
because, you know, it's really nice to start, you know, journeys in West Africa, trying to get a flight in there, and it takes you 2 days to get somewhere. It's a bit harder to get excited about getting on the ship. So I really like the way that you all have structured that up.
Yeah, and it's important to us as a brand as well, because we need those marquee destinations
Yes.
from a logistics standpoint as well. So it serves dual purpose in that
Yeah.
respect.
What is the journey fare going to include for me? So, you know, again, like all the luxury lines are slightly different in what's in and what's out. So what can I expect when I get quoted on if I'm a client, I get quoted on a cruise, what does that actually include?
Well, we're pretty much all in. So I'd rather start with what does it not include? And what does it
Perfect.
not include is your destination experiences. And again, that's because we wanted to give you that choice
Right.
to design your time in the destinations that we're visiting however you would like. And that, again, came to us from those guests telling us that that's what they wanted. And then spa treatments are not included. So if you want a massage or facial, that would be something extra.
Sure.
But other than that, well, in the casino too, we do have a boutique casino on board, and they do take donations. So
Oh, there you go.
we don't include the casino. But as far as inclusions are concerned, so that leaves you with, we include your gratuities. So that personalized intuitive service that we are going to provide as that ultra luxury product on board.
Yeah.
The gratuities for that are all inclusive. We include the restaurants that we mentioned, with the exception of the anthology and the chef's table, which there's an experience fee for those. All your beverages, that complimentary bottle of champagne when you come on board, that mini bar stocked with your favorite spirit and beverages of choice. All of your Wi-Fi is inclusive. And this, I want to stop really quickly here, because Wi-Fi has become more of a
Big
necessity.
deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And if you don't get Wi-Fi right on a ship, people talk about it, and they talk about it for a long time.
Yeah, you got that right.
So, I mentioned earlier that we're targeting kind of that affluent, working, wealthy demographic. So we know that while they like to say they disconnect on vacation, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So whether they want to stay connected from a work standpoint or a social standpoint, they're going to be able to do that with us. And it's not that we're going to include, oh, you can surf, but if you want to stream, you have to pay more. And if you want to do it on another device, you're going to have to pay us more. With us, surf, stream, do it on as many devices as you would like, and it will be high-speed Wi-Fi at sea, because we will have routers in every single suite, in addition to routers in public areas. So that makes all the difference from an accessibility standpoint, is to have that access in your suite in the privacy of your vacation with us.
Nice part about a new build too, right? Because some of
Yes.
the ships floating around out there were around before the advent of wireless internet. So
Yes.
and so
Yes.
you know, I feel for them, but it's awful tough to retrofit a
Yeah.
vessel made out of internet
Steel.
blocking signals,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we also include access to the thermal spa area that I mentioned. And then in destinations where we aren't docked or tendered within, I think it's 2 kilometers of the city center, we'll be offering shuttle services
Yep.
into the city center. So all of that's inclusive. And then in the penthouses and the residences, there are a few more little inclusions
Yep.
that are part of that suite category that you booked with
Sure.
us.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I'd really like to reinforce here is that we quite often get questions about, cruise lines that include shore excursions and those that don't. And the reality is that one of the comments I make to people is that, okay, keep in mind, nothing is free. It's a matter of whether or not it's been prepaid or not. So if you are going on a cruise line where shore excursions or shore experiences are part of the fare, keep in mind you've prepaid for those, which is fantastic if you want to do all the stuff they've scheduled for you, right?
Yeah.
For me, I want a little bit. I want a little bit more control over that, because there's some things, particularly because I guess I've been to many of these places before. Maybe there's some stuff I just don't want to do, right? And or I've already done.
And we grappled with the decision to either include or exclude destination experiences. And really, it did come down to that choice perspective. And what we heard from guests who have traveled on some of the other lines that do include the destination or shore excursions is that they didn't really realize what was what the inclusion entailed. A lot of
Right.
times it was a larger bus, that kind of
Yep.
cattle herding type experience. And that, again, that's not the luxury experience that we wanted to offer.
Yeah. So, Aimee, how do you staff up an operation like this, right? You guys have been at it for, I think you guys just started right about the time where the whole world shut down, and you've been working all the way through all of that. And but right now you're trying to staff up these vessels with hundreds of employees. How do you do that?
So it's a long process that's been going on for several months now, even though we don't have a ship in the water and operational until
Yeah.
July of next year.
Yeah.
But what's great about the process is it gives us the time to visit many different countries and speak to many different interested parties who might be a potential onboard host for us about Explora Journeys and make sure that we are a great match because we all know when you take a job, it's not a one-way, street. It has to be a mutual agreement or mutual fit. And I think sometimes in the ocean space, it becomes more about just filling the position
Mm-hmm.
and as opposed to filling the position with the right person, with the right mindset. And when you're going to market with an ultra luxury product, that's extremely important, making sure that you have the right person and the right mindset for what we hope to deliver by way of that ultra luxury experience. So yeah, we've been months at it. We've been doing a multi-country tour. We have a pretty good number of team members that have been identified for our onboard team. And we actually have a place in Italy where we will be bringing them in for training, and it'll be multi-week training, if not multi-months of training on the Explora Journeys way and what to expect when they come on board and how to treat our guests and execute our product.
That's fantastic. And one of the things that struck me as well is that, I know a number, I knew you, I've known you for
Mhm.
years. So I knew you well before you were with this exciting new brand. And there are several others as well inside of Explora Journeys that I know from various other parts of the travel and tourism trade. One of the other questions that comes up fairly often is around sustainability. And, if we talk about the cruise ship industry in general, it doesn't have the best rap out there, and I mean, I think in the last few years, people have begun to take it a little bit more seriously, but you guys are in the unique position of, again, starting from scratch. So I have no doubt sustainability is part of what you have in mind and part of the brand promise. So what's that all about?
So going back to MSC Group being our parent company, they have a goal as the group. I mean, think about how big that group is by way of number of ships and their exposure on the water. They
Yep.
have a goal to be carbon neutral by 2050. And Explora Journeys is part of that. So I think we mentioned we're building 6 ships. And the first two, Explora 1 and Explora 2, are 100% identical in size, shape, design, and everything. Ships 3, 4, 5, and 6 are going to be identical by way of design. They're all being built in Italy by Fincantieri. They've all been designed by a gentleman by the name of Martin Francis. He's a very prominent British architect in the super yacht world. So when you see our ships, they do look like super yachts. They look a little bit more unique than some of the other typical ocean ships out there. But ships 3, 4, 5, and 6, they will be identical in design, but they'll be slightly bigger than ships 1 and 2. And that's because those ships 3 and 4, which are going to be introduced in 2026 and 2027, they will be powered with LNG, so liquid nitrogen power. And then ships 5 and 6, which will be introduced in 27 and 28, will be powered with hydrogen power. So the ships are going to be about 19 meters longer to be able to incorporate the ability to be utilizing hydrogen and LNG power because we need some battery space in there as well.
Yeah.
And the reason that we didn't do either of those types of power with Explora 1 and Explora 2 is because we didn't feel the technology was quite there yet to be able to deliver the product in the time frame that we wanted to. But those ships will have the ability to be retrofitted at a later date to either LNG or hydrogen power. Regardless, the first 2 ships are still very focused on sustainability. So they will have the ability to take ship to shore power, which in the US is going to be required in 2025. So if
That's
you
right.
come into any ports of call, yeah, that's going to
You
be
got to plug
required.
in.
And Yep, you plug in. Well, we don't allow any single-use plastics on board. We also don't allow any partners that we work with to use single-use plastics. So I mentioned Illy coffee makers prior to us,
Right.
working with them. They didn't have compostable pods. And any of our destination experience partners, they need to have the same mindset. We have technology on board that's called Rena Dolphin technology. And what that does is it reduces the underwater noise for our underwater life to make it a little bit
Hmm.
more pleasing or comfortable, I guess I should say, for us to be operating and not disturb the underwater life. And there is a bit more to our story as well. And I'm sure, Bob, we can share some of that with you, and you can then pass that on to your guests and clients that might be more interested in understanding how involved we are in a sustainable world. MSC Group as a whole does have a foundation that they are very dedicated to. Preserving the oceans of the world. In fact, Ocean Key, which is the private island that MSC Cruises visits and that we will also visit from time to time when we're on our Caribbean itineraries. That was probably the biggest joint venture of the MSC Foundation and cleaning that up and bringing that back to a sustainable place.
Well, this has been fantastic, Aimee. So thank you very much for taking the time. It gives me a much better idea about what Explora Journeys is all about. And I got to tell you, I can hardly wait to get on board. This is really, in all honesty, this is really cool. Any new product, which doesn't happen very often in cruise ship space. So it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. It doesn't happen very often in cruise ship space, and that's exactly why I decided to make the jump over here. Between the backing behind the MSC group and the people that I'm working with who have a ton of experience across the luxury sector in both cruise and hotel, I'm learning a lot. But I'm most excited about what we're going to be able to offer to you and your clients once we are in the water. So we certainly do look forward to welcoming all of you on board soon.
We'll see you on board.
If you'd like more information about Explora Journeys or any other ocean, river, or expedition cruise, then we'd love to help. Here's our contact information, and it's also included in the notes below. Of course, if you like this video, then we'd love you to give us a thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.